All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's pre-lock show. We are here to give you all advice and answer your questions when it comes to what we're doing on Week 13's NFL slate. It's already been an interesting one. I was hoping Devontae Smith was going to play, so it's kind of a buzzkill that it's not looking like he's going to. But Fling, how you doing, man? I feel like it's been a bit since I've done a show with you.
It's been a minute. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited for the slate.
Yeah, glad to have you, man. Burns, I know we do a show every Thursday or Friday, Tactics. And I feel like I have a pretty good grip on what you're doing on this slate, but it's always good to have you. Multiple top 10 Millie Maker finishes. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Nice.
Seems like I live on podcasts these days.
You really do. That's why I feel like I always know like what you're gonna say, but I know everyone might not take in as much content, so still good to touch on it again.
Yeah, our Shark Lab went 2 hours last night, man.
Holy shit, man! Yeah,
a lot of great questions.
You were bringing your inner geek because I know he does like those 2-hour shows like every Saturday. Tattoo, the one and only. How's Virginia treating you? Oh, we can't hear you, Tattoo. There's no sound working. I'll come back to you though. It looks like you're doing good though. You look healthy. You look like you're very energetic. It's good to see everybody in the chat. Time to win Christmas money. I mean, you're not wrong. It is that time to start thinking about those gifts if you haven't already. Kanger, good to see y'all. We are here to answer your questions. Like I said, we will go through the chat, get them in here early because later on we will not get to your questions. I'm just going to be honest. So ask them now. And so we'll start off with, to me, one of my favorite questions, because it really just kind of shapes what you're doing on the slate. Who is your single entry quarterback today? Fantasy Fling, I'll start with you. Who are you looking at for single entry quarterbacks?
I like Baker. I love him against New Orleans this weekend. Right now he's only projecting for about 3% ownership.
Wait, are you looking at Baker against Carolina or Stafford against the Saints?
Oh, sorry. Baker against Carolina. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, they're both good, so I get it.
Good matchups regardless, right?
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, and I mean, Burns, I know you like Baker too. Is that your answer too when it comes to single entry, or are you going somewhere different?
Yeah, I'll probably be on Baker this week for my single entry.
Yeah, I am biased. I am completely aware of that. I am playing Baker Mayfield. He made it into my pool of 8 quarterbacks. But when it comes to single entry, I really like CJ Stroud this week. It seems a little weird because he's been so bad. But I like Stroud. And if you want someone with a bit of a safer floor, I think Stafford's fine this week too. We hear you, Tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear the whistles. It was a little loud. But we hear him. Tattoo, who are you looking at for your single entry quarterbacks? I know you play a lot of single entry.
Are you talking to me now?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was a little behind. What's the question? Single entry quarterback?
Yep.
I have Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Looks like everyone's on Baker. I see it. I get it. George or Jorge said, anyone else starting to get exposure to KJ Osborne has a prop projection now? I am not getting exposure to KJ. Burns, are you seeing him show up at all for you?
Let me just check. I don't believe so. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Fling, I know you MME a good bit too. Are you looking at him?
I'm not. Yeah. None of my research has led me to KJ Osborne. So if he's the guy you have to have this week, I guess I'm probably going to lose this week.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't start to show up. Honestly, I don't like him that much this week. And for those of you who are wondering what we are talking about when we say exposure, we're all using DFS Army's Domination Station Optimizer. Great tool, great optimizer. And he mentioned the potential of using props projections. That's something that we have access to as well. A little bit ahead of the curve there. If you want access to that, feel free to click the link in the description. Use promo code FLING, right? Is it Fancy Fling or Fling for 10% discount?
Fantasy Fling.
Fantasy Fling, but then we also have the Black Friday deal that's going on until Monday, which is BF 2024 for a 50% discount, which we rarely do. So definitely use that if you want a little bit of bigger discount there. But if you want to support Fling, use his code. That's always nice too. All right. Bobby, good to see you. And yeah, he had a long show last night. Dixon said, oh my God, MJH about to be 95% owned. It feels trappy. Did the books pay to get this narrative out today? I like Marvin Harrison Jr. this week. I'm not going to lie. But that's also because I like Kyler Murray. But when it comes to ownership, let's see. It looks like he's going to be not that chalky. Fling, am I missing something? Like, is his ownership going to shoot up?
Yeah, Upper Slide just posted in the Discord a little bit ago that the coach is basically saying they're going to get him going today. So I think, that's going to push some ownership last minute onto him.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think he'll be that chalky, but what are your thoughts, Tattoo? How do you feel about it?
I just haven't seen him do it on a consistent enough basis. I was trying to look and see how much I had of him, but I don't think much at all.
Yeah, I get that. All right.
5%.
Yeah, I get it. Let's see. And then Jay said Burns is going to get paid like Juan Soto. Hopefully you'll have a great night tonight. Boy Badass said, what's the max percentage on ownership in a 400 entry tournament? Burns, I know you tend to be a little bit more in the weeds when it comes to like ownership and smaller field tournaments. Like, what's your thought process here if you have any?
I'd say you can probably max it out at 150% and be fine with that.
Mhm.
I don't think you have to be super contrarian in a small entry field like that. 400 entrants is a pretty small field. So 150% on the projected ownership cap, and you're good to go.
Yep. And just so you all know, the screen that I'm sharing is a DS run I had like from Friday. So don't do these changes because I was just playing around with it. But then Burns was talking about the projected ownership cap setting here in the DS. And for that, he would do 150. Typically, though, for large field GPPs, you're looking at like 135, 140, right, Burns? Or is that switching for you today?
No, that's right in line. I don't think you can do 135. I think it only does the whole numbers. So the 140, 130, 150s, those types of numbers.
Yeah, sweet. All right. Phil's busy. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, feeling a little bit better. I still have some cough drops in my mouth every now and again, but it's all good. Mr. Andy, good morning. Said he's going back and forth between Mayfield and Herbert. Tattoo, who are you looking at here? Who do you have a
Mayfield.
preference? Mayfield? And then I know all you guys said Mayfield earlier, so I'm assuming you like Mayfield more than Herbert, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I took Herbert out my player pool, unfortunately. It was close, but I like to keep 8. Big Rob, love the show you did yesterday, Burns. We talked about single entry quarterbacks. Everyone said Baker Mayfield. I feel like I can make an educated guess on who you all are going to look at when it comes to your wideouts. But Burns, who are you looking at stacking him with in single entries?
I've been toying back and forth between going Baker Mayfield +2 and having him with Mike Evans and Cade Otton today. But if I only just do QB plus WR, it's definitely Baker and Mike Evans.
Yeah, I would say Mike Evans and Cade Otton is my top stack right now there. What about you, Fling? Are you looking at +1, +2 for single entry? What's your thought process here?
I mean, I prefer to do Baker +2 with Evans and Otton, but I also don't mind getting a little different and stacking him with Bucky Irving.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to mention like a Sterling Shepard or someone like that. But okay.
Yeah.
I hear you. What about you, Tattoo? You going to switch it up or are you with these guys?
I'm with these guys. With Cade
And then
Otton.
Tattoo, I'll go right back to you here. Do you think Adam Thielen could be a sneaky play today?
Yeah. What did he get? About 5 or 6 targets last week.
Mm-hmm.
Had a 36-yard run, catch. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with him. He might end up going back to their main target this week.
Yeah. He's been out for most of the season. He came back last week. It wouldn't shock me if he does a little bit better today. Savage, good to see you. Also appreciate the dono, man. $10. Really appreciate that. He said, what do our flex percentages look like today? I was busy with family and didn't get to see the Burns video last night. Love you guys. Appreciate you too, man. Let's see. Burns, we'll start with you. What is your flex percentage looking like today?
So I'm landing on 50-12 or 50-15 and filling it out with wide receivers. So running backs is at 50%, tight ends at 15, and then filling it out with wide receivers.
What about you, Tattoo? What are your flex percentages looking like if you're doing that today?
FanDuel, I'm at 100% on running back.
Makes sense.
And
anything on DK?
DK, I am 100 running back and allowing 20% tight end, 30% wide receiver.
Okay, that's a little bit different. What about Fling?
On DK, I got running back at 30, tight end 10, and wide receiver 100.
Yeah, I'm close to that. I'm 40% running back, 10% tight end, 80% receiver. And then again, for those of you who are relatively new, these are the flex position percentages that we can change in the domination station here. Again, link in the description. Bobby, what's up? Said any of you guys on Ridley? I am not. What about you, Fling? Are you looking at Ridley at all?
I've got to him in a couple lineups just because it made sense salary wise, but I'm not trying to get to him. I'm not forcing him in.
Yep. He made it in one line. So 1%.
Yeah.
What about you, Burns?
I'm not actually getting anything on him in DraftKings, but when I did some runs in FanDuel, because I don't know, I just put like a couple entries in. I got some of him in those runs, but I don't know if I want him at all. So it's a tough secondary in Washington.
Yeah, not wrong. Addison has upside with Darnold. I agree, Jeanette. I like Addison a little bit today, but Justin Jefferson is the priority. Ash, long time no see, man. Hope you're doing well. It makes Jays a trap. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going crazy with it. Actually, let me see. How much do I have? I have 8%. So we'll see if that ownership really jumps. I might be behind. Brutus said, do you guys now use the prop projections or the regular projection options in the DFS, which is the domination station? For me, I'm still using regular projections. I did use prop projections for the first time on Thursday, so I'm still figuring it out, but I'm slow to change. What about you, Tattoo? Are you using the prop projections? Are you using regular projections? What have you been doing?
I check out the prop projections,
yeah.
But like you, I'm kind of, old man, stick with what I know tools right now.
Yeah,
but
I do look at them
and
and they help me make decisions, but I'm not like jumping ship quite yet. What about you, Burns?
Another part of the process.
Yeah, agreed. What about you, Burns? What have you been using? Oh, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm muted. I'm sticking with the regular projections for this week. Yeah, when I start to look at single entry contests, I start to utilize the prop projections to get onto a player versus getting off of a player. So yeah, that's how I'm working it right now. But I know Kevin is huge proponent for it right now, and he's been running it a lot. So
yeah, and he had a $20,000 takedown. What about you, Fling?
I'm not using it yet a whole lot, like as far as running the DS with it. I kind of just use it to check, what our projections say versus the props. And if I feel like the prop is a little more accurate on a certain player tag that I have, that I might go with that or bump them down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of just use it to check our projections.
Yep, I get it. All right, Will said Jahan Dotson scoring 2 touchdowns today. All right, man. I see the prediction. We'll come back around if it hits. The Ken Knief said, what are y'all's favorite quarterback +2 stacks? Highest ceilings in your mind? Burns, I'll start with you. Who are you looking at here?
it's CJ Stroud all day for me.
Yep.
And you can go a couple of ways with this. CJ Stroud plus Nico and Tank, or CJ Stroud and Nico in the tight end there, Dalton Schultz. But domination station, because I boosted I kind of boosted a little bit of Mixon, so I can actually get them into lineups, because earlier I wasn't getting them in, and they're putting them in the Stroud lineups too, so you could get all the touchdowns then.
Yeah, I don't hate it, and that was mine too, so I'm with you. The Dell and Nico Collins. What about you, Fling?
I'm with Burns. I like Stroud a lot this week with both Collins and Dell.
Oh God! All right, Tattoo. Can you break the streak? Make it not CJ.
I guess good luck affording it, maybe. But Hurts, Barkley, and Brown.
Whew. Yeah, that is pricey, but you're not wrong. Hard to get mad at that one. All right. Ken said Barkley and Henry fading the passing game in Philadelphia and Baltimore, ownership forward. All right, I see you. I don't think that's crazy.
I think it's for
Forcing some exposure to those two. That kind of speaks to what you were just talking about, Tattoo. And then also on Henry, I feel like I haven't heard a lot of people talking about him. Fling, have you thought about Henry much today?
Yeah, I've been trying to force a little bit of exposure to both Henry and Barkley, just because, I mean, you know, when we look at the past slate, like oftentimes we're like, why didn't we want to play like these running backs, like Barkley averaging 26 points per game in, you know, a high game total, right? So I want to force a little bit of exposure to both of those guys.
Yeah, Barkley was the main guy I forced some exposure to. Henry was just kind of there. Do you have any thoughts here, Burns, that you want to touch on?
You know, his touchdown prop actually did it reversed. It wasn't very high earlier. Like yesterday, it wasn't very high, but now it's in about the minus 220 range. So Derrick Henry is actually they're starting to project him to score a touchdown. Okay. The highest projected guy to score a touchdown today is actually Kyren Williams. Yeah. And +2 is actually Kyren Williams by about 20 points on the spread or on the prop spread over Derrick Henry. But I wouldn't hate getting exposure to Derrick Henry today.
Okay. Yeah, hard to argue with that. Bobby said, Burns, are you still high on Justin Jefferson? And would you stack him with Darnold or just play him naked?
Justin Jefferson's going to be in a shit ton of my lineups. He's actually right now 30% in my lineups. And I don't even have any boosts on him whatsoever. I mean, he is just naturally, he's just naturally showing up. And when that happens with a guy in about at 8,100 on DraftKings and 8,900 on FanDuel, you just go with it. You don't decline. You don't lower his projection. You just go with it because there's something going on there with the domination station. And it just loves Justin Jefferson today. And I equally have loved him all week. So,
yeah, he's shown up by himself and with Darnold. I don't feel like you have to play Darnold playing him, but it does make it a little bit easier since Darnold. Big Rob said, I'm mostly double tight end in the flex for me. All right, man. Good luck. I don't think that's a bad play at all. Will Levis and Kirk. That's going to be a pass for me, man. Tattoo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, on both Kirk Cousins and Will Levis, I cannot get on board with. What about you, Fling? Have you thought about Levis and Kirk at all?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, Burns, you?
I've actually thought about Kirk Cousins today, and then because a question came up on last night's show about Kirk Cousins, but so Kirk Cousins at 6K, he's only had 2 scores over 20 points, and we talked about this on the show last night, and they both came in a divisional matchup against Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay is actually quite porous against passing in their secondary. So yeah, and then when I looked at when you look at the statistical power ranking model, let me find the Rams here. So the Rams they're a lot.
Well, he's
better.
going up against the Chargers.
Yeah, or the Chargers are a lot better in the secondary than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it makes a lot of sense to have Kirk Cousins in porous secondaries and not so much against good to really good secondaries.
Yeah, hard pass for me, but attacking that Tampa Bay defense, one of my sneaky quarterback plays for the day. Michael said AJ Brown or Nico Collins, using Mixon as well. For me, I would go Brown here just because you're using Mixon, but like Burns mentioned, they're not awful together, Collins and Mixon. Tattoo, who do you like here, Brown or Collins?
I like AJ Brown a lot today, so.
Agreed. What about you, Fling?
Yeah, with using Mixon, I would lean AJ Brown for sure. But one for one, I like Nico better on the slate.
Cool. And then Dixon said, are you guys buying into the Blake Corum birthday narrative? I have not heard about this narrative, so this is already news to me. McVay's been running Kyron into the dirt, and now he's been fumbling the football. Yeah, he hasn't been great the last few weeks. Tattoo, what are your thoughts here? Are you looking at Blake Corum at all?
I don't really want to bring up my Michigan fandom right now. I feel a little bad. But
that hurt a little bit, Burns.
I don't even want to talk about that game.
But I don't want to upset my partner here. But no, I do not buy into the Blake Corum birthday narrative. He got his present yesterday. So I don't know. I am not. I just use it as an opportunity to talk about Michigan.
I knew it was going to come up at some point in this game. It was too painful for it not to. Is anyone looking at Blake Corum, though? Yeah, no. All right. Stevenson or Bucky on DraftKings? Personally, I have more Bucky than Stevenson, but Stevenson is like my low-owned GPP running back play for the slate, but I would still go Bucky. What are your thoughts here, Fling?
I love Bucky in this spot, so that's Bucky for me for sure.
Yep. Well, do you agree? I mean, they're both like the same price, but what are your thoughts here, Burns?
Yeah, I'm on Bucky. Today, I got a little bit of Ramondre. I think I got him in 2 lineups right now, or 10% ownership in 20 max. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with him. But I do think we need. I know we're going through the questions, but I do think we need to address the running back position, though.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Is there anyone you want to talk about?
Yeah, so there's been some developments across the props projections, and Brian Robinson is going way under owned today in a viable matchup today for him. Austin Eckler is out in this game, and we really don't attack Tennessee via the pass. We attack Tennessee via the run. And I just think at sub 7% ownership on the slate today, Brian Robinson Jr. makes a fine play today. And I do think you need to get him in the lineups today.
Okay. Yeah, good call out. Low owned play. I'm never mad about that. I think I would still prefer Ramondre just because the matchup's so much softer. But I get your thought process there. All right. And then Tattoo, that ask you, Stevenson or Bucky?
No, I really like Bucky. I'm triple the field on him and double on Ramondre.
Okay, good. Savage, appreciate you again, man. Said Bryce Young, Moore, Thielen, silly for the millie. Yeah, I don't hate that. Bryce Young +2. Talking about David Moore there. Adam Thielen, I think that makes sense against a really bad Bucs defense. I would go back and forth between Thielen and Leggett, but I think Thielen makes a bit more sense there, just from like a, yeah. I go back and forth there, but I think that's a solid line. How do you feel, Burns? I don't think you like Bryce Young this week, do you? I know you don't like 4K quarterbacks typically.
No, I'm not on Bryce Young at all this week. David Moore is just naturally going to enter into a lot of lineups for you unless you cap him. And then Thielen, I think I've built a couple with Thielen, but I'm just not getting him in any of my runs. Yeah,
I don't think that's bad. What about you, Fling? Are you looking at Bryce at all, or pass for you?
It is a pass. However, Tampa, they're a little banged up, so. If you're playing Bryce Young, I would say definitely I would be forcing bringbacks with, Evans and Otten, those guys.
Yeah. I didn't force bringbacks, but I did think it made a lot of sense. The main reason why I didn't force a bringback is because I love those lines so much where I'm paying down on the wideouts, paying down on Bryce Young. I just have exposure to like AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson. Can really nerd out on that. What about you, Tattoo? I think you like Bryce a little bit, don't you?
A little bit. I do have like a hand built lineup with him, and I went definitely over the field on FanDuel. I think where he's like 2% owned, I probably have like 10% or so.
I get it. Xavier said, or let me get Xavier's first question. What defense would you guys roll with in GPPs? So yeah, when we're looking at defenses on this slate, it's always interesting because there's a few really chalky spots with like the Colts and the Jets. But then outside of that, everyone else is pretty low owned. Burns, I know you're usually the defense guy. Who are you kind of looking at here for GPPs?
I'm trying to attack home favorites as much as I possibly can throughout all my lineups today. Home favorites have really done well this year. They've basically tripled the field on away favorites, away dogs, home dogs. So maybe even could quadruple the field on that. So the home favorites that I'm attacking are the Commanders. I'm also attacking the Jets. In addition to those two, I'm attacking the Bengals. And if you have large enough cojones like I usually do in large field GPPs, I am attacking the Baltimore Ravens in this one, where they could actually benefit in the cold and at home this week. So home favorites, attack them. And then the Colts, I'll just address them a little bit. Their ownership percentage is extremely high today. It's nearing 20%. I just don't like it that much. I think it could be a trap here with the Colts. I think Drake May could actually style in this game, where the Colts are, they do well indoors, but when they get outdoors, they kind of and it's cold for them. So I really like the fact that, this could actually be a Drake May day.
I'm with you on that. I am under the field on the Colts. I'm always just a sucker for being different, though. So there's that. What about you, Tattoo? What defense are you looking at for GPPs?
Oddly enough, or ironically enough, I'm way, way over the field on Drake May, but New England's my favorite defense.
Okay. Yeah, that's not really that weird. Was there a reason why?
I think Anthony Richardson's still probably good for a couple turnovers. I'd imagine it's going to be pretty cold in New England. Mm-hmm. Not the easiest place to play.
True. What about you, Fling? Anyone else stand out for you here?
Yeah, I will mirror that comment about the Patriots against Colts. The Colts offensive line is really banged up, and I think it can get ugly for the Colts offense today. Specifically, we know Anthony Richardson turns the ball over. So, yeah, give me that $2,500 defense. I like that one.
And every team plays like shit the week after Detroit beats the shit out of them.
Not wrong so far. No, I like that. And the only other defense I'll add in here is the Titans. I like them this week. Matchup's tough, but they're a good defense and they're cheap, so I'll always play that. And then the Rams, which I think is a play I might have gotten from Burns earlier this week, but I just like the Rams against Derek Carr and team when they're a little beat up, even though they've been scoring a good bit here lately. But
I'll be on them too, Josiah. That's a good one. The one other one I forgot, the Vikings at home with Arizona coming into town. This could be where the Vikings actually start to get the double digits. DraftKings points for the defense, and FanDuel, I think there could be double digits as well. So they're high priced, but could be a viable high price defense today.
Yeah. Fun fact: this is actually what I use while we're doing tactics. I just put likes and mins on players, so I tell myself how much I want to have of players during the show, so I don't forget about it later. So a lot of these likes are just guys that we mentioned on the show and just guys that I like. So I had a feeling, I was like, oh yeah, the Rams, I like them, but I'm pretty sure it came from tactics, which was usually you when it comes to defenses. Harlock said, Falcons are a home dog today. How will they score their points today, through the air or ground? Matchup's tough against the Chargers. We were talking about this in the chat earlier. Fling, what are your thoughts here?
Falcons. They actually it's a pretty tough matchup for the passing offense. So I would lean Bijan Robinson doing the bulk of the scoring for the Falcons today.
Yeah. Burns, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a tough game in general for them. I don't attack home underdog running backs. It's just not beneficial.
Yep.
It really just haven't historically done well this year. So this is just an overall tough game for them in general. But I am getting a good amount of Drake London, and I think he does actually have a good matchup against the scheme today. So he could exploit this Chargers defense where the Chargers have to come across the country to play and at 1:00. So that could be a play.
Yeah, Drake London is the only one showing up for me too. Xavier said, any Freiermuth today? Let me see. I didn't hate him. I only have 1%, and he's only around 1% owned, so I'm around field weight. Burns, I think you like him a little bit though, don't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to get him in, but you definitely have to boost him to get him into your lineups for sure.
Tattoo, any interest in Freiermuth?
I like him, but like Burns said, you have to boost him, so I didn't end up getting to him.
Yeah, makes sense. Josh said Aaron Jones or Stevenson. Fling, what are your thoughts here?
I would lean Aaron Jones.
Yep. Burns, I believe you like Aaron Jones a good bit here too. Are you going him over Stevenson though?
Oh yeah, I'm going to have a lot of Aaron Jones today. He's going to be in the top 6-7 running backs for me today in terms of ownership. So yeah, I'm really trying to get him into lineups.
Yeah, I have both, but I am leaning towards Stevenson. Once again, is really just a matchup for me. Matchup against the Cardinals is pretty neutral, which obviously Aaron Jones can smash because he's been really good. But I like the matchup for Stevenson a bit more. Jake said, does anyone like Jonathan Taylor and Cash? Fantasy Fling, you are the Cash GOAT. What are your thoughts on JT for Cash?
Absolutely not in Cash. He's not projected for a lot of ownership. They're very banged up along the offensive line. So no one Cash, but yeah, like that would be like a single entry, kind of play.
Okay. Cousins is nice. All right, Nathan, I see you. Jay said, Burns is AJ your only 100%er, and did you add anyone else to the pool?
I did not add anyone else to the player pool outside of Brian Robinson at the running back position. Mm-hmm. So, and what I mean by that is boosting them. They're obviously in my player pool because I don't X any running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defense is out. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're just naturally in my player pool, but I did boost Brian Robinson today.
Makes sense. Jeffrey Witt said on FanDuel, what running backs are you guys paying up for? Tattoo, I know you play on FanDuel a good bit. He mentioned in particular CMC or Kyron Williams. Who are you paying up for?
Let's see. I didn't really get to, much Barkley. I have 6%, 4% McCaffrey, but a lot of Kamara, Chase Brown, but I wouldn't necessarily say I paid up or forced any pay-ups.
Yeah. Fling, what about you? Favorite 7,300 or more running back? I know they're pricey on FanDuel too, so it's still the same question, but you can add in CMC because he's on that slate.
Yeah, I would go with Kyron on FanDuel. I like Kyron a lot on both sides.
Yeah, I do too. And then what about you, Burns?
Yeah, I'm on Kyron Williams. Once I saw the touchdown prop, with FanDuel, you definitely want to go with the touchdowns, the touchdown equity. So once I saw his prop is the highest, and he's in the he's in the 8K salary range on FanDuel, that kind of just moved me away from those high price guys on FanDuel, like your Mixons and stuff. So yeah, I do like Mixon today. It's just I like Kyron more.
Yeah, and for me, I'm ready to get hurt again by Alvin Kamara. It happens every week, but this time Taysom Hill is chalky, and if Hill's chalky, I feel like that can only go poorly. I do have exposure to Taysom, but I am significantly over the field on Kamara. I know you hate that, Burns, but I feel like he has to get a touchdown at some point. Tyrell said, shake my head, Ohio State. I know that was brutal. Anyone looking at Cook? Probably gonna run in Buffalo. So yeah, that's gonna be on the night slate. Tattoo, I'll go to you for this one. What are your thoughts on Cook tonight?
I got a little bit. I think it could be one of those nights where he ends up scoring 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still kind of shocked that it's after 12 and nobody has mentioned the running back that I'm like in love with.
Who?
And Gus Edwards.
Oh God. Okay, why do you love him, Tattoo? I mean, but the price tag is great. I get that.
The price tag is great. Harbaugh is a run guy. He's going to want to get the running game going. I have him and was it Vidal?
Yeah, Vidal, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I have them locked in 100% on FanDuel.
Okay, I see you. Personally, I have 4% Gus Edwards, so I'm gonna be a little bit under the field there, but I have around 7 to 10% Vidal, so I'll be over the field on him. But I kind of hate both of them, to be honest.
Vidal says so.
What are your thoughts here, Fling? Who are you looking at here? Well, not here, but I mean the Chargers game.
Gus Edwards.
Yeah, with like Edwards, Vidal, that group.
What I like about Edwards is, is a little bit of leverage off of, McConkey chalk and Herbert chalk. So, and he's super cheap, does not have to do much. He's had big games before. So I'm definitely playing some of him. I'm just not locking him in like Tattoo.
I would be totally happy if he didn't show up at all for me. I really don't like him. But you all are right. He has touchdown equity, so it makes sense. What about you, Burns? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's going to be in my lineup simply because he's 4,300. He has the ability to cross the end zone. He has the ability to get to 50 yards rushing today against this Atlanta Falcons defense. I'm not with you, Tattoo, on this. I'm not locking him in, but I can see where you want to leverage the field on that, though.
Yeah, it's not crazy. I just don't like it. SB said, any reason to play Chuba? He is popping a bit. I'm right around field weight exposure on Chuba. I'm not overly excited about it. The only way it really makes sense to me is if the Panthers were favored and I saw them staying in this game. I would love to see them stay in this game, but I don't think it's the most likely thing. And so it's hard for me to get on board. I'm around field weight exposure. I think it's smart to fade it, though. What are your thoughts here, Burns?
I actually have 0 of him. I've lowered his projection to the point where he's out of my lineups completely. Yeah. We talked about this last night on the Shark Lab show. Mm-hmm. So the Statsational model has them projected for 96 yards rushing. And they're going in this game. This is not a game where they're going to actually move the ball via the run. They're going to move it via the pass. The front of Tampa Bay is actually really good against runs. So that, plus they got Jonathan Brooks back today and this week. So I just see where Chuba Hubbard's going to start ceding shares of opportunities to Jonathan Brooks as weeks continue to move on. And so I'm just not on Chuba Hubbard. I don't play home underdogs at running back, and that's what he is today. So,
yep. Nobody taking Herbert. Fling, are you looking at Herbert at all?
Justin Herbert, I like him for sure on this slate, but I also want guys like Baker who are going to be far less owned than him. So he's like my cash quarterback, and playing a lot of small field, but I won't get a ton of Herbert in large field tournaments this week.
Yeah, I mean, I usually fade the chalkiest quarterback on the slate, just because I usually have better luck with my lower owned plays. Even if he does well today, usually my lower owned plays do just as well, at least one of them. So I think he's fine. It makes sense. Good matchup. I just couldn't get there. What about you, Burns? You looking at Herbert?
Yeah, he's in a few lineups for me. The ownership is really starting to worry me on him, and so I've moved my ownership to about slightly less than field weight. So he's about 20 or 18%. So I'm about 15% on him, and that's just enough for me. I don't need any more than that.
What about you, Tattoo? You on Herbie?
I'm under the field. I don't know. I just never see him like breaking the slate numbers,
Yeah, he was an unchecked for me. People are sleeping on Carr this week. Burns, I know you mentioned that he had a pretty good matchup on paper. Ultimately, I didn't get there. Did you end up playing him at all?
No, I'm not playing him, but I could see why you would want to play him. He does have one of those games where he does have a winning score, but I'm not on him this week. I just don't really see how the Rams are actually a pretty decent team. And so I could see his numbers being down low for passing, and he would have to throw for 3 touchdowns in this game. Honestly, he could do it to Alvin Kamara as well as Taysom Hill. So I'm not going to debate you on whether you should play him or not. If you want to play him, go ahead. I mean, he's going to be super low owned.
Yep. Pollard or Robinson Jr.? I'll throw this one at you, Burns, since I know you mentioned liking Brian Robinson Jr. Do you have a preference between Pollard and Robinson?
Yeah, so I was looking at both, and Pollard was popping a bit on the props projection, and I increased his projection a little bit, but I've actually taken that off of him, and I've actually moved that over to Brian Robinson because I just like what is being seen here in the domination station with Brian Robinson, as well as what could actually happen in this game. I really think that they're going to run the ball in this game and beat them via the run versus in short passing situations than actually going over the top on Tennessee, which is where they shut down teams.
Yeah, not wrong. For me, I'm still going to go Pollard, though. Razzle said, I love tacos. Good to see you, Raz. Nice. Looking forward to having you back next week. You've been gone for too long, Raz. Too long. All right. James H said, anyone going for Cook? We touched on this a little bit earlier. Dixon, I am not the Chuba Hubbard whisperer. I'm not the Panthers whisperer at all because I usually just don't play them. And right now I'm just around field weight. I would say arguably he's live for 2 touchdowns because like you said, if it's going to be competitive, it probably will be some Chuba touchdowns in there, but I think there's going to be down. Tim, good morning, man. Kevin said, where are you guys on Gus Edwards? We touched on this a little bit. Most of the guys are on him. I am not. Mo said, is Bryce viable in large field GPPs? Yes, he's very live, but don't go crazy because he's probably going to suck. Raz said Cardinals with Darnold's turnovers and always play the Vikings when it comes to defense, I believe. McKinn said all Pats defense talk. Do we want the Jets or Pats in cash? I feel like I know the answer to this one, but Fling, who are you going with here?
I'm actually going with the Jets because they're a little cheaper and they're getting more ownership than the Pats. But honestly, I think you go with either of them in cash. It kind of just depends on if you need the $300 or not.
Yeah. Brian said favorite 4,800 and under player on DK. Fling, I'll go right back to you first on this one. Who are you looking at the sheep this week?
Gosh. I like Thielen at 4,800 just because he's direct leverage off of David Moore, who's getting crammed into lineups. So that's kind of how I think of it. Is there a guy on that team that could get a good amount of volume and could kill all those David Moore lineups? So probably Thielen for me.
I am over the field on pretty much every Panther receiver at this point. I just realized. What about you, Burns? Who are you looking at as a cheapie?
Obviously I'll save this one for Tattoo because on DK he is definitely under 4,800. But and he's going all in on him in FanDuel world. But I think you do have to get some ownership on Adam Thielen today. I also think you need to get some ownership on Demario Douglas today if he's not popping.
You have to force that. I was struggling to get him to show up.
Yeah, you do. And you know, at the tight end position, it's easier to get ownership on guys that are in the 4Ks salary range. But there are obviously some really good tight ends today in the 4Ks salary range. Like you got your Dallas Goedert, especially with Devonta Smith trending towards the negative way of being out, Cade Otton. And then, you know, a guy like TJ Hawkinson should be a part of your player pool today as well. I know there's a lot of ownership on Noah Brown, but I'm not liking it at all. So those are the kind of the things where, you know, you got to be like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense versus meh, this guy just doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Most of my guys were at the tight end position, and you touched on pretty much all of them. Gus Edwards, again, not really super high on. Nick Westbrook Akine, he's someone who I have showing up in a couple of lines. And all the Panther receivers are viable too in this range. But my favorite is Cade Otton. What about you, Tattoo? Favorite 4,800 and under player?
I like, you know, Akine too, but I would probably say Hunter Henry.
What? Why are you surprising me? Yeah, I think I like Hunter Henry too, especially my May stacks. But I was waiting for you to touch on Gus again, but no, it's fine. Yeah, Hunter Henry is definitely very viable. Looking below 4,800. That's part of why we're all open to like playing two tight ends on this slate, just because it does get really gross when you go below 4,800. Tim said, I did throw a couple of 5 cents large GPPs on FanDuel with Levis and Ridley for the hell of it. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. Ricardo said, I mean, actually, I do think it's crazy, but it's a 5 cent GPP type of play. That's what makes it not crazy. Ricardo said, I know your exposure max cap is 20% on defenses, but is it okay to go down to 15% to get more variance? Burns.
Yeah, you can go down to 15% and spread out your player pool across all the a little bit more of the defenses. So if you lower your percentage down to 15%, you're probably going to get some defenses like the Rams. Whereas if you were at 20%, you probably wouldn't get them unless you boosted them.
Yep, agreed. Is anyone touching Quentin Johnston after all those drops last week? Hell yes. I always play players after they have a really bad week. Maybe not always, but 9 times out of 10, especially when they've shown 20+ point upside. And we had a show where Geek was just shitting on him the entire show. I will always play guys that people refuse to play. That's literally when I've had most of my big wins, is just not being, you know, too biased against players like that. So yeah, I'm significantly over the field on him. What are your thoughts here, Tattoo? You playing any Johnston?
Yeah, I got a little nothing. I'm not over the field, or I just, however he showed up is what I got of him.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Burns?
I haven't really touched his projection. I know he's on my cheat sheets, but yeah, I haven't touched his projection. I'm just not really sure what's going to happen with him today. That's all.
Fair. Fling, are you on board?
Yeah, I'm with it. I built a few lineups with Herbert just to get off that Herbert to McConkey chalk. So I'm good with it. Fair.
Is anyone else getting to Tommy Tremble? I hate Tremble. And again, that's my Panthers bias. He is just not good. I have 2%. What about you, Burns? Where are you at?
Tommy Tremble, is that the tight end for the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sanders is out. And so that's why people are looking at him now.
Yeah, that's about as much as I'm getting of Tommy Tremble today. Is I don't even think he's going to even enter my stratosphere of lineups today.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much about it. He did see an end zone target last week, and it was awful. But so yeah, we don't need to talk about that too much. But yeah, he's showing up in a couple lines, but not someone to have a ton of. I wouldn't have more than 5% of that guy personally. James said,
just because I did the afternoon sheet this week with Raz out. He would be a good afternoon play 2,800, going to be low owned. And, there's a lot of studs on that afternoon slate. So he'd be a guy to kind of put in there so you can jam in the studs.
Yeah, for sure. He should see targets. And at that price tag, hard to argue with that. Hopefully he doesn't suck like he normally does. James said, any of you guys going with Cook? We touched on that already. Tony said Evans or Cotton with Baker or double stack. Everyone mentioned they prefer double stacking. Spears, Patrick's defense will be the top defense today versus an owned Arizona. I think a lot of people agreed with you on that one, my guy. Ken said, any interest in cheap Gus or Vidal? We touched on that a little while ago. Let's see. Kenneth Walker popping for me in the DS. Is he a good play? He did. I'll start with you, Fling. What are your thoughts on K9?
I'm fine with him. Yeah. I think it's anytime the DS is, trying to shove a guy down my throat and, they're not like they're not the chalk. Like I'm good with it.
Fair. He's not showing up for me too much, right around field weight, but yeah, he's fine. What are your thoughts here, Tattoo? You like Kenneth Walker at all?
Yeah. I'm just around field weight, but I think he's always in play.
Yeah, I didn't do anything to force that. Your thoughts, Burns?
Yeah, I'm double the field on him right now. So
I knew someone was going to have a stand.
KW3 is showing up in 20% of my lineups, and I did nothing for him to actually do that. It's just naturally because I've lowered projections to Alvin Kamara, Bijan Robinson, and Chuba Hubbard. So I'm getting more of a different look at running back this week because of those decreases to those guys. But look, let me tell you, like Kamara is still in 20% of my lineups. I'd rather be about 20% lower in ownership on him, but have just enough where if he does go off, those lineups could do well. So yeah, that's kind of how but with like Chuba Hubbard, I'm fine with him being completely out of my lineups, and then Bijan Robinson similarly. So
nice. Razzle dazzle, 5x the field on Vidal, and it's not because you like being stupid, Raz. This is gonna work out for us. Not to one up you, but I think technically I'm 7x the field. So I'm just glad I'm not the only person saying it at this point. And then final question ish, I might touch on another one. Fletch said thoughts on Chase Brown. Fling, what are your thoughts on Chase? I think everyone probably likes him a lot, right?
Chase is like more of a cash play for me. He's getting a lot of targets, and he's getting like 7 targets the last 3 games. So he is a decent floor to get there. Easier for cash games, but yeah, it's a tough matchup. So, he's not a guy that I want a ton of in tournaments.
Okay. What are your thoughts here, Burns?
Yeah, I'm similar to Fling here on this one. But I haven't touched his projection yet. So I want to see what lineups look like with him being out of some of them and not at the global max that I have him at.
Fair. Tattoo, are you playing Chase?
Yeah, just right about the field weight on him. I just ran something else, so I lost my window here.
I'm slightly over the field too, so I see you. I'm with you on that one. Chase being overlooked, Porter being overhyped. I don't think so. Is anyone looking at Jamar Chase here? Wait, Tattoo, are you thinking about it?
What, Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not very high on my list, but I got him in one lineup.
He didn't show up for me at all. What about you, Burns?
Yeah, I'm not getting any of them. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. is he's a really good corner in the NFL. He has gone up against some really good wide receivers and had very good games against them. I was not on him at all this week because he's going to shadow Jamar Chase all game. And so I think he stifles Chase. And I think you got to look at T. Higgins instead in this one.
Yep. I don't disagree. B-Dub said Stafford forward. Agreed, man. There's quite a few quarterbacks I didn't talk about on this slate that I like. Guys like, well, we'll talk about low-owned plays, but Stafford is there. And to answer IMAX's question, I like playing Stafford with Puka and Cup. That's my top stack with him. Great spot for him, for both of them, in my opinion. And then Raz, if you don't get the hell out of here with this, I will report you and send you straight to HR. And then let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I think it makes sense to go ahead and talk about first anytime touchdown props. We'll run through that, and then we'll touch on our favorite low-owned plays of the slate. Starting off, ATD plays. Raz or Tattoo, I know you're ready for it. Tattoo, who you looking at for your anytime touchdown prop?
Well, I was thinking possibly
maybe
going with shit dogs. Brian Robinson Jr.
No, Brian Robinson. Okay, Brian Robinson Jr. All right. What about you, Burns?
Touchdown prop, anytime touchdown prop.
Yeah.
I'll go very easy. He's the highest touchdown prop on the entire slate, Kyron Williams.
Fair. Fling?
Stole mine.
I'll go Mixon. You take Kyron, I'll go Mixon.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks, Burns.
Yep.
I'll go. Between Pollard and Justin Jefferson. I like to make it weird, so Justin Jefferson is going to be who it is. All right. And then favorite sneaky play. Like, you can touch each position if you want to, but let's just talk through some of the guys who aren't getting enough attention today. Tattoo, we'll start with you.
Guys who aren't getting enough attention?
Yeah, your favorite sneaky low-owned plays.
Each position?
If you want to. You don't have to have one at each position, but just favorite low-owned plays broadly. I didn't want to limit you or set boundaries.
Thank you for not shackling my ability to express myself. I mean, I could say Gus Edwards because I'm so foolishly high on him. Wide receiver. I mean, shit. Mike Evans is 6% owned. So, and my
FanDuel, is that where he's low owned? Probably.
That was FanDuel. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Working overtime here. Tight end Zach Ertz. I don't know if he's low owned exactly. 10%.
And is that it?
Yeah, I'll call it.
Fling, what about you? Who are your guys?
At running back, Vidal, since we updated ownership and he's looking pretty low, I think like 1%, 2%. And then at wide receiver, Tank Dell, 5% is way too low for Tank Dell.
So true. I didn't even realize I was double the field on him. That's wild. What about you, Burns? Or was that it? Anyone else, Fling?
That's gonna do it.
Okay. What about you, Burns?
At the quarterback position, for me, it's Drake May today. And then second to him, it would be CJ Stroud. At the quarterback position. At the running back position, B. Rob Jr., KW3. And then my favorite is Aaron Jones today. And then at the wide receiver position, I know he's not exactly under 10%, but Justin Jefferson today.
Yeah.
He's slightly over 10%. And then another guy, I do agree with Tank Dell today. And then, that would be it for the wide receiver position. And then at the tight end position, I think a guy that could be going overlooked that he did have an explosion game last week. It was his best game of the year so far. From a DraftKings perspective is Trey McBride. He is at under 8% ownership right now, as well as Mark Andrews, who is actually getting touchdown equity from Lamar Jackson today throughout the course of the last 6 games. And then I think at the defense position, the Commanders are extremely viable today at the defense position at under 10%. The Vikings as well as the Bengals, and they're all home favorites. So those are kind of the guys that I'm looking at across all positions.
Sweet. All right. So for me, when it comes to quarterbacks, some guys I'm significantly over the field on are guys like Bryce Young, May, Stroud. Murray is one that hasn't been mentioned. I like the game environment. I expect him to suck for most of the game, but then come through for us by the end of the slate. And then Russell Wilson is the other low-owned quarterback that I'm significantly over the field on. I only have him forced +1 with guys like Pickens. And then at the running back position, Rachaad White is someone that we haven't mentioned. I love Bucky Irving, but Rachaad White gets just as many touches in the great matchup, so didn't want to forget about him. And Stevenson I touched on already. Vidal, like Fling mentioned, and that's pretty much it for me. When it comes to receivers, Collins is way too low owned. Force so much exposure to him. I'm with you, Burns, on the JJ play. Addison is someone that I like this week. We touched on Quentin Johnston as well. I'm over the field on him. And then Marvin Harrison, assuming he's going to remain relatively low owned. I like that spot. And that's pretty much it. You can kind of put all the Panthers receivers in one bucket for me. And then for tight ends, Cade Otton at 4% ownership is too low. Dalton Schultz at 3% ownership is too low. Mark Andrews at 3% ownership is too low. And so those are the guys I forced exposure to there. So y'all, appreciate the support. Hope you all have a great slate. Look forward to hopefully celebrating with you all on the Discord per usual. And then, yeah, good luck, y'all. Peace out. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
I like MVS too.